Welcome to my review of The Outer Worlds. Keep in mind all the captured video here is from the first sections of the game, so there won't be any spoilers, won't be doing the primary story in the background there. And with that said, let's get to it. The Outer Worlds is a role-playing game through and through with a decently robust character creator and fair bit of stat management, allowing you to choose the type of character you want to play throughout the game, whether it's a stealth character, a gunslinger, or someone who's just going to talk their way out of all your problems. It'll let you play out the majority of the game that way, though I will let you know here, there are a few occasions where you will need to engage in combat here, so there's going to be no avoiding that. But since it is a first-person game, and the shooting is actually pretty good, which we'll get to more a little later. So let's start off with the obvious here. The graphics, as usual, they went for a pretty stylized, almost cartoony look here, but it actually looks pretty great. Lots of vibrant colors throughout the world. Textures are pretty good. Nothing, top-notch for this generation, but very good graphics, very pleasing to the eye for the gameplay, so nothing you'll get bored of throughout the roughly 30 hours of game. Now, the other thing to note is character models, very well done, and of course, one thing to notice here is the facial animations for all the characters, actually very good. Very much liked all the facial animations here. Now let's move on to the gameplay. Outer Worlds is a role-playing game through and through. A good portion of the game will be, visiting a new town, talking to all the NPCs, and, seeing what they have to say, though. You'll get some quests from them, they'll send you to other destinations nearby where you spoke to them, things like that. Now, in this case, you should know that all the characters here are fully voiced, they're well acted, they actually have good stories and personalities of their own, so they're very interesting to actually speak to. As for the combat, Obsidian actually did a very good job with the combat here. There's actually a lot of gun variety, and the combat is very fun, it's responsive, it's accurate, it's not quite top-notch shooter material, but it's still very good. It's a great step up from previous role-playing games in, the previous years. So you won't be let down for the actual combat, which, if you choose to play that playstyle, a lot of the combat will be fun to play. You don't have to worry about dreading it every time you decide to enter an encounter rather than skirt around it. The story itself is nothing groundbreaking, but it is interesting. It does follow the good role-playing fashion. You do get to make a lot of choices throughout the game that actually do have impacts on the characters and people you meet, though it doesn't really greatly impact the way the story will go. There are a couple options there, so it does allow a little bit of replayability, but the story threads will basically lead along the same lines in a second playthrough, even though it'll change very much which characters you'll meet, how you'll affect them, whether or not you'll engage in combat with them, and whether or not perhaps they'll join you in your travels. So, final thoughts on this one. It's actually one of the better role-playing games, 3D role-playing games anyways, that I've had the access to play in quite some time now. It's been a while since we've had one of this quality, and I did like the writing. It's very interesting, it's very unique. It definitely feels like, something that Obsidian has previously made, but it is a good generational step up, if nothing groundbreaking. So I definitely give this one a solid 5 out of 6. Since it's not a groundbreaking work, I can't give it top notch, but it is, as I mentioned there, a masterclass in role-playing. So if it's something that you enjoy, a good role-playing game, it has been a while since we've had a very good one. This one I would recommend, even if it's at its current price. You will enjoy your time with it, even if it's not as long as some people may want it to be. Now, one downside people may ask is, it's not a completely open world game, but it does reward exploration. You will find things in the nooks and crannies that you would otherwise miss if you just followed these straight storylines. With that said, I recommend it, 5 out of 6, and have a good day.